Good afternoon. I thought I'd take a couple minutes and share with you the progress we're making on the new Smoking Wyrm Monograph. So first of all, we have completed the production of the die that produces the new sleeve that's going to hold the monograph. Actually, if you were at DCC Day this year, we gave out free copies of Tales from the Smoking Wyrm, and they arrived in these with a bookmark and a note kind of describing what this was and everything. So this is how this is going to be packaged from now on, I think. As you can see, the issue just slides in nicely, it's held in place, and there's some room in there for cards and everything, which means that we don't have to factor in things like sleeves anymore. So that's a huge advantage. Now, originally we were going to foil stamp these with these Smoking Wyrm Monograph foils, or stamps, which would have stamped like this, just like the cover. And there's two of them, I'm just pulling one out. But what we discovered was, during production, I was working on the DCC Day product, which was supposed to have a Tales from the Smoking Wyrm stamp on it. And what we discovered was that the foil stamping machine I'm using has aging thermal coils that need to be replaced, and I need to replace the essentially the thing that monitors and maintains the heat levels and everything. There's a new solid state version of that can be adapted onto it. So that's about a $1,200 repair to my machine, and I'm not going to have the money to do that this time. So what we're going to do instead is, and you can see I actually tried it several times, it's just an issue of dwell and heat, and if I could get a little more heat, I wouldn't have to dwell as much. This is actually fixable just with a little bit of shimming. But I got to get just a little bit more heat onto that block, and it'll work perfect. I'm just not able to do it with the machine I have now. It needs to be fixed. What we're going to do instead is we're going to silk screen those on. And actually that has an advantage too, because what it means is we will probably silk screen the interior of this as well to have some information on how to use the cards and everything together and how the sensory cue card system works, which is what we're using for the first time. So this will get silk screened twice, and then it'll be ready to go. I'm not going to have the silk screen materials. I'm waiting for them to make the screens right now, and I should have them the week after Gen Con. So that's coming. But in the meantime, this is a mock-up of the basically finished, Krampus Comes to Cos Boterham, Smoking Wyrm Monograph, Volume 2, Number 1, by David S. Percival. So I thought I'd show you what this looks like. As you can see, it's going to be printed in 3 colors on the cover. This again is just a mock-up. It's just off my inkjet printer. It still looks pretty good though. It came out nicely, and I've roughly cut it down to shape. Has this wonderful John Cobb art in it and everything, and it's laid out. Has these little time markers because time tracking is a big issue in this adventure. We use the same map that we used in Smoking Wyrm Monograph 1, For Whom the Bell Trolls. It's right there. And that's because, we never really had detailed what this village was in the first one, and we liked the idea of connecting the 2 stories together. And so, by utilizing the same map, we've now given it a name, and we have added about 7 or 8 locations to this map. And so I'd like to revisit this a couple times and really kind of develop a nice little village and maybe package all that together or something into a little story set with some NPCs and everything. Anyway, that's Cos Boterham has been upgraded, and you can see the new locations and everything are detailed here and stuff. Then we talk about moving around, random encounters. There's a whole random encounter set that escalates as you move in time. And so you start out using the die chain, using a smaller die on this table, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you get closer to the midnight hour, which is why this time tracking is so important. And obviously, this is a Krampus comes to Kosboderham, right? This is about Krampus and him checking the player characters to see if they're naughty or nice and stuff like this, which leads to some conflict. As you can see, we've got the layout is coming together really nicely. We utilize the same thing we did in the previous 2 Smoking Wyrm monographs, where we have just the highlight of the image for the adversary or ally, in this case an ally, and then these we printed on tarot size cards and then cut out as well. In addition, the cathedral from the first adventure has been fully detailed out in interior wise, and it has a lot more information about it. And so yeah, this is beginning to look really nice. It's coming together. I'm pretty happy with it. So there's a couple of new locations that are outlined, and of course all the locations that you had in the very first adventure For Whom the Bell Trolls could still be brought into play. If you wanted to use the sheriff or you wanted to use anybody like that from that adventure, you could. But here you're going to deal with a whole bunch of kind of mystical, magical, fey-like creatures in Anique's Bakerage or the Boderham Glassworks. We've got these, I think the maps for these have come out really nicely. Anything that deals with a potential combat, we try and use a command view on that page. So basically, while there's information on the Glassworks up here that'll lead you into and allow you to explore it, when we get to actually detailing where you might have a combat and everything, that's, as far as we can, that is put onto one page. So the same thing with Wellrin's bindery. Here's a nice map of the bindery, and then the magpie, the creature that's found there and stuff. So this is kind of an investigation adventure, it turns out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. The NPCs and the encounters and the random tables are really great. This is the summer garden and everything, and I think it comes together pretty nicely. We've done a little more price finessing on this. It won't affect anybody in the Kickstarter, but we've looked at the material costs and how the labor costs and everything to get this to where it's going to be in the end. And I've had to raise the price just a little bit to represent that. But I want to point out that, let's look. This has got, comes with 30 sensory cue cards, and it'll come with 9 tarot cards. So there's going to be, quite a few cards, almost 40 cards in with this. And then you deal with the packaging, which, will keep it all nice and clean and keep all those cards together. And it's a pretty robust product at that point. So, yeah. And that's it. That is Krampus Comes to Kosboderham, where we're at right now. I'm going to continue working on it. This is down to 1 or 2 final corrections, and then it goes to the printer. We've already made a down payment on the printing costs and everything. They're basically paid for. And we already have, Joseph Goodman's approval for this as it sits right now. And so everything's good to go. We're moving forward as fast as we can. I expect to get a couple more days work on the cards and everything before I go to Gen Con. I'll be doing that next week. And then we'll probably be going into production. Those will be produced on site using our high-end printing system and everything. So professional printers to print the cards, which will be on a similar paper. We're still investigating exactly how we're going to do that. And that's the next big hurdle of this. While this is being printed, we'll be working on that. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And otherwise, here's where we are. Thanks, everybody. Bye.